Well, I am joined with John Witherspoon today celebrating Thanksgiving. And wow, did we get some good news yesterday about Diddy? He has been denied bail. Let's go over the news today. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am It's Kim, and as I said, I am joined by John Witherspoon. Thank you so much for being here to give such a great perspective on everything legal. And yes, Sean Diddy Combs has been denied bail for the third time. We reported it last night. We did a live stream going over everything in the documents. Um, Very interesting filing that was made to do with this denial. It does look like there's going to have to be something pretty major for Diddy to be able to apply again for bail. And the judge was definitely pretty sassy when it came to the reasons why, referencing the Cassie tape, saying that even the version that Diddy submitted, it still showed the violence, so it didn't really count. John, I just wanted to ask you because we weren't able to ask you last night. Overall, what are your feelings on this bail situation? How do you see things moving forward in your professional opinion?
Well, first of all, thanks for asking and thanks for having me on. I do think that the judge came to the right conclusion. I think it was basically a slam dunk for the U.S. Department of Justice and the United States Attorney's Office. There were very, very few, if any, crumbs thrown toward Diddy's side of the case. The judge basically said, in so many words, there's nothing here that's going to persuade me that the presumption of incarceration should be rebutted, meaning based on the charges that Diddy is facing, the law says that he should be locked up unless there are some extraordinary reasons that he should not. And the judge said, I have not seen any of those extraordinary reasons. He is clearly a danger to the community for any number of reasons, including the violence on the videotape from the hotel, the presence of the automatic weapons with the serial numbers filed off, all that type of thing. He's also clearly a threat to the smooth and appropriate functioning of the judicial process in terms of his apparent interest in tampering with witnesses or poisoning potential jurors. Um, and there are just any number of reasons why he should remain locked up. One thing I'll point out too, the third bail package offer that Diddy's lawyers put forward included having Diddy incarcerated basically under house arrest in a 3-bedroom apartment in New York City with private security watching over him and monitoring his phone calls and doing all these other things. And one thing that was interesting, and I was grateful to see the judge say this, was that there is not a two-tiered system of justice. There's not a tier for the people who are not of Diddy's level of wealth and influence, who have to spend their time before trial in the Metropolitan Detention Center, and then another level of incarceration or house arrest for people like Diddy who have unlimited means and who can throw dollars around in the interest of staying someplace other than the MDC, meaning in a 3-bedroom apartment someplace in Manhattan in New York. And I was glad to see the judge say that this is not the way the game is played. He is going to be treated just like any other person would be. His wealth and his influence and his power do not resonate with me as the judge. And so therefore he's going to go right back to where he has been, along with everybody else who is similarly situated as a defendant. And I think that was definitely inspirational and definitely the right thing for the judge to say.
I agree. I agree. But today we now look at the American holiday of Thanksgiving, and happy Thanksgiving to any Americans who are celebrating today. But of course, Diddy is an American. Diddy is in jail. And it looks like this is what his Thanksgiving is going to look like today. So it's been reported a few different outlets, but I thought this one was really great from Fox, just saying Diddy's Thanksgiving meal options in jail include peanut butter and jelly sandwiches after his bail. has been denied. And I know we were joking about this earlier when when and everything was released. But yes, Fox News is reporting on Wednesday the disgraced hip hop mogul and Bad Boy Records founder was denied bail on charges following his September arrest. And he's being held in MDC. And these are going to be the options for his food, which I think are very entertaining. For breakfast, the menu includes fruit, cereal, breakfast pastries, and skim milk. Coffee is not listed as an option, though it was available earlier in the week on Sunday. Honestly, that doesn't sound too bad for me, that breakfast. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Right,
I
right.
do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Lunch is served as the Thanksgiving meal for Combs and his fellow inmates with a turkey roast, mashed potatoes, mixed vegetables, cranberry sauce, turkey gravy, and dinner rolls and margarine. Again, that's not too bad.
Appropriate for the holiday, yes.
I just find it very interesting because his lawyer in the past has said that the hardest part of this for him has been the food. This, I mean, I guess you kind of would have to see what it is, right? Because you can say, like, yeah, this is a dinner roll, but I mean, who knows what it actually looks like? You know what I mean? It's a
Yes,
brick.
yes, exactly,
Right? So I
exactly.
don't know. But yes, the dinner is simpler with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, potato chips, whole wheat bread, fruit, and a beverage option. So that's going to be his very fancy, fancy special Thanksgiving dinner.
It's so funny. It reminds me of, like, the middle school cafeteria lunch. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Where it's like, okay, well, this isn't fancy, but we're going to keep you alive. We're not going to starve you, but and we'll throw you a bone by having cranberry sauce because it's a special day. But beyond that, business as usual.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And I did think it was interesting because I had been wondering if there was going to be any other Thanksgiving reaction. And I want to just make sure I got this pulled up. Um, it looks like his son, King Combs, has been sharing that he started his Thanksgiving, his pre Thanksgiving, with crab legs and was bragging about that in his car. And then also had a few other posts about his Thanksgiving. But did post another video of him with Diddy's youngest wishing everybody happy Thanksgiving, which I thought was interesting. And I did want to get your opinion on this because, as much as I may not be a big fan of Diddy's family, I mean, they have a right to have a social media. They have a right to, speak what they think and everything else like anyone else. And there's nothing wrong with celebrating Thanksgiving with your family and those types of things. With everything that has gone on when we talk about social media and Diddy's family, could posts like this from King be an issue?
Yes.
Because okay, I'd love to hear your take on this because I saw that this morning and I know everybody's going to be going on about, oh, he did it again, but why is this important? Why does it matter?
Well, it matters not only in the short term, but also in the long term. Um, I believe I have read a story where there was a post that went out a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, on his birthday,
Yes.
where one of his children, a little girl who was maybe 3 or 4 years old, was blowing out candles on a birthday cake for him and so forth. You have to be really, really careful about that stuff. The reason is that if, like we were talking about a few minutes ago, the judge is a human being. And there may not be something that is per se illegal or some violation of policy. There it is.
Mm.
Um, that is related to this, but the judge is not dumb. And I believe Diddy said to someone, all we have to do is influence one juror. And I don't care what anybody says about the propriety or the advisability of having this post out there with my birthday and my kids celebrating my birthday. And I'm not going to say that he said that. That's an
Hmm.
allegation based on some things that I've read.
Speculation.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but you've got to be really careful, and not only in the near term, but let's say Diddy is convicted and has to go into the process of uh, being sentenced. And there's going to be a pretrial report that's going to be written. The judge is going to be aware of all this foolishness in terms of social media posts and everything. That can really make a difference because if, again, in the case of a conviction, Diddy's lawyers may stand up and say, oh, judge, he's done all the right things. He's played by the rules and everything. And the prosecution, the U.S. Department of Justice, U.S. Attorney's Office is going to say, hey, judge, don't believe everything that they're telling you. Remember way back when he allegedly said, all I have to do is influence one juror. And remember when he was playing games using illegal apps on his laptop or his tablet or whatever he has. And remember when he was playing all these games with his phone card and using other prisoners' phone cards and, phone codes and so forth, and making three-way calls apparently and all this other stuff. That could really come home to roost, especially, as I said, at sentencing. And then if he ever is eligible for parole, they would even be able to look back all of these years and say, you know what? He never has played by the rules. He's never been the model citizen in the justice system that he claims to have been. He has certainly not been an angel. And it could really be a problem for him. So, as I said, short term and long term, it's not the best thing to do. I can almost guarantee you that his lawyers have said to him, you probably shouldn't do this. And in fact, I think they did say that, and his response was, "I don't care."
It's my
Um,
birthday.
it's my yes, exactly. It's
It's
my
my
birth,
birthday.
So
Ridiculous.
you
Yeah.
know, it's and um, there is a guy, another YouTuber, Justin. I think his last name starts with a P. He's really good. He's a formal federal inmate.
Hmm.
He now runs a prison consulting business. He's got really interesting content, and he has talked several times about Diddy, and he's made the points that I just made as well, saying, you know what? Diddy needs to start behaving right from the get-go because
Yes.
all this stuff could come back to haunt him months, years down the road.
It's a good point, and I think it is one that I hope for his sake he would take to heart, but I mean, I don't think he's really going to change much. We've kind of seen this repeated behavior from him of just completely disregarding the law, disregarding the rules, thinking it doesn't apply to him, and I think that is likely to continue. Well, I do so much appreciate you being with me, John. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. You can also hit the like button. You can leave a comment below if you are so inclined. You also can join our membership and our Patreon for more content. We would love to see you come back as we give you guys lots and lots of content. We talk about Diddy as well as lots of other pop culture topics. And we wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving and thanks so much for joining us.